Today I'm going to be showing you how to play PlayStation 1 games on the Nintendo Wii. Just so you know, things you need a few things to do this. You need a Wii with Homebrew installed on it, and the channel WiiSX. Of course, if you don't have Homebrew and you want to install it, check one of the videos that I'll put in the description. Also, as well, you need a PlayStation ISO, which you can also download from the links in the description. And if you have a PlayStation emulator, you need the BIOS, which, if you don't have them, I've put them in the description as well. Now let's get on with it. First of all, you need WiiSX. Hang on a sec. Now, if you see this one called Weebrew.org, that's the right one. Okay, so when it loads up, you need to download it and put it onto an SD card. Or you can download it from the Homebrew browser. But if you haven't got the Homebrew browser, don't worry. Don't worry, you can also download it from here. Okay, in case you don't know where to download it, it says here, download website source. Click download. Of course, I've already installed this on my SD card, so I don't really need to show you this, if you know what I mean. But I'll just show you anyway. Show you how to install it. Okay, so you just download. Come on, for fuck's sake. If you've installed a channel on your Homebrew before, or installed the channel from Homebrew or whatever, you know what I'm on about. That means then you can actually install this successfully. Anyway, this is where the SD card. This is what you need the SD card for. I recommend having like a spare SD card, or a normal one if you don't with that. Something that hasn't got anything on except Homebrew applications or whatever. So you open up apps. Okay, you drag the apps folder. Do not touch any of them. Just drag the apps folder into here. But if you've already got an apps folder and it says would you like to overwrite, it's alright, just leave it like that. Then just drag WiiSX into the root folder. Do not drag it into any other folder. And then you should have this folder here. Okay, so this is what. Okay, so then afterwards you've done that. Put it into your Wii, right, and see if it loads up. If it loads up successfully, right, that means then congratulations, you've done it. Now the next part is actually getting the games to work on it. So open up WiiSX. Of course, when you first get the channel, you won't have any folders. So you need to create 3 folders. One called ISOs, one called BIOS, and another one called saves. Okay, the ISOs is where you put the PlayStation. It's where you put the PlayStation games. You can download these from one of the links in the description. If you don't have any of these, you can't play the games. You know, so otherwise this video is pretty damn pointless if you don't want to download the PlayStation game. Now, the BIOS is where you put the scph1001.bin. Of course, if you do not configure that, your game will crash before it reaches the title screen. It will come up with some error code, then reset itself. I'll show you how to configure it in a minute. Saves. There's nothing, obviously, until you've played and saved the game, there'll be nothing in there at all. These settings, controls, you know, etc, etc, they're all just for like, well, you know, they're just like your controls that you've set it to. Anyway, so after you've installed it, etc that. Don't mind that. Don't mind that folder. You can delete that if you want, but I don't recommend it, you know. So this is how your well, unless you've played it at least once before, you should have these 3 folders. If it doesn't, then your game will crash upon startup, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'll show you how to configure it now. And also as well, you need to put it into your in your SD card slot of your Nintendo Wii. Okay, I'll show you how to do that now. Well, you obviously know, but you know what I'm on about. I'll show you how to configure it to play. Okay, so once you've actually installed the channel on your Homebrew, okay, so once you've actually put the games and the BIOS into the correct folders and that, you can then start up Homebrew. Like I said, if you haven't got it, watch the video in the description on how to download and install it. Start. Okay, if you get a screen like this, it means you haven't put an SD card in. You need an SD card, like, well, you probably can't see it, but because it's too dark. But you need like at least a 2 GB card. So, hang on one sec. It also works. You can actually control the games with a GameCube controller. You can get them at like, well, if you got a games console, I mean GameCube, you can use that controller or get it or buy one from one of them cheap shop things. What knows what they're called. Anyway, once you load it up, you'll see this screen: load ISO, current ISO, settings, credits, quit, play game. Go to settings, select BIOS. Make sure SD is selected, because if not, your game will crash upon startup. Select CPU core, DYNA dynamic. I can't say that fucking word, but you know what I mean. That one there. Select through BIOS, SD, like I mentioned. Otherwise your game will crash upon startup. Boot through BIOS, no. Save settings.cfg, SD. Video. Show FPS. You don't have to, but if you're interested to see how your game plays, click yes. Limit FPS for a better performance, off. Frame skip, off. Screen mode 4.4.3. Differing, default. Do not edit that. Input. Okay, so this is where this is basically where you can configure it, or you can configure your controller and that, you know. I know it's probably too dark to see that, but you get the idea. Analog. So that means then you can use this to. That means then you can use that to move around, as opposed to that. Disable rumble. That's like vibrating, I think. Save button configs. SD. Don't worry, it's normal for it to save for. It's normal for it for a few seconds. Audio. Disable audio. Now, if you select yes, your game will have no sound to it at all, which means you're basically playing a mute game. So I do not recommend that one. Disable XA. I have no idea what the fuck that means. Don't harass me on it. Disable CDDA. CDDA. You cannot edit that option, so I don't think you can. Saves. Mem card save device. SD, USB, card A, card B. Select SD. Yes. Save states device, SD. Okay, so then once you've configured it like that, load ISO, load from SD. Now, only .q and .ccd formats are accepted. So click on let's go with .q. You'll say ISO loaded Spyro3.q, CD-ROM label, yada yada yada. Number of tracks 1, found it and loaded from SD card. Play game. And then depending on what game it is, obviously. But then you've got games to play on your Wii. Just so you know, for fuck's sake. Just so you know, depending on the ROM you download, it'll perform the same as it would on your computer. So, for example, if your ROM is a bit glitchy on your computer, it'll be a bit glitchy on the Wii. If it runs fine on your if it runs fine on your computer, it'll run fine on your Wii. If it runs fine on your computer but not on your Wii, then something's wrong. I know you've probably played Spyro 3 now, but I'll show you a bit of it to show it works. Sorry about the sound, it's a bit glitchy on my computer. Just put this here to show that I'm not faking it.
We managed to...
Okay, I'll show you the default buttons as well. It might be a bit dark for this, so well. If you have it set to fuck it, this bit's a bit too hang on one sec please. That's better. I know the footage might be a bit laggy now, but anyway, I'll show you the controls now. Start, obviously, pause menu and all that. A is X, B is square, X is circle, and Y is triangle. As you can see, it says Nintendo GameCube, so I'm not faking this at all. If you want to quit the game as well, you just press that. Of course, depending on how quick you like exit the game and that, you know, the longer it will take. But anyway, you can download PS1 ROMs from the link in the description. Happy playing, everyone. If you have any trouble installing it, just say in the comments and I'll help you out. Or try to anyway. But just so you know, I'll only help with the WiiSX bit. I cannot help with the Homebrew bit since I had trouble installing it myself. So, if you have any trouble installing Homebrew, ask on the person's how to install Homebrew video, not mine. Okay? Thanks for watching.